I see on a daily basis is outer sequence downswing, and this is the one that most people think they're doing, because what that really is, with a lot of people, they'll think that's you're throwing your shoulder at it, your upper body being too active in the downswing. So again, this is very common, but this is a one where it's an obvious downswing fault. This is a downswing fault. This isn't a backswing one like the one before. So this one I can see guys getting to a good position in the backswing. They get good depth back up there, have good turn. They might even have good alignment with everything up there with their shaft. And then I'll see a movement coming down where their upper body will very much be outracing the rotation of their lower body. So it's almost an over rotation of the upper body start. Because just like we talked about on the lead arm depth, is we know when we have a lack of depth, our rotation puts a force on the hands, which then gets your hands going outwards. So when we do that with the upper body, because we're rotating hard and too fast with that upper body to start off the downswing, again, that's going to do the exact same thing. It's almost just you're rotating too hard from that top, and that upper body is very much taking over. This is very common with guys who haven't been playing golf that long. Saying that, there's golfers who have been doing this for years as well, so don't feel bad if this is you and you've been playing golf for a long time as well, because it is so common. But this is because of really that subconscious part of golf, is where we're holding a golf club with our hands are attached to our arms are attached to our upper body. So kind of in the back of our brain, our subconscious, it makes sense to swing it with your upper body because that's what the club's attached to. But that will get that club swinging too much over the top. So just generally, we're getting up to the top of the backswing, my upper body is going far too much, far too hard in its rotation first, where it's outracing the lower body. Now, I'm going to give you a couple little things here. I'm going to give you my favourite one for sure that we're going to get into. This is the one I posted on Instagram a lot of times. This is the one I do with a lot of my students as well, that we see great success with every time. Because ultimately, there's two ways of really looking at this, and one way I don't like and the other way I do. So the one I don't like is a lot of people are thinking, right, my upper body is going too fast. I've got to speed up my lower body. I've got to make my lower body turn faster from the top of my transition, from the top of my backswing and my transition to get everything in sequence. Now, that could work if you've got the club head speed of a long drive pro. So that would be if your upper body's going so fast that you could actually get your lower body going even faster than it to get it in good sequence. That might generally work, but that's not a lot of golfers out there. We actually need to calm down upper body rotation and let our lower body go, because most golfers do have a decent amount of rotation with their lower body. It's just the upper bodies move so fast, it's always playing catch up, and that's always going to make your path go too out to in, too over the top. So a lot of guys out there, we've got to calm down that upper body rotation from the start going into the downswing, and that's what we're going to get into for our little fix of this section here. So we know this one's quite straightforward, really. That upper body's just going too fast, rotating too hard. That's called, throwing your shoulder at it, that type of thing. That's that problem. So let's get into the fix of that problem. We know what causes it already, so let's get straight into that fix. So guys, the fix to this portion, now there's two little things we can do, just like with the lead arm depth. They're not all going to have two things, but because this is a common one, there's just loads of different ways of fixing it. But these are my two favourite ones. The first one is like more of a conceptual thing, which is what you definitely need to be thinking whilst you're hitting balls, let's say out on the golf course doing this. But the other one is part of the ultimate practice bit that we've got at the end, the practice plan. So we know upper body going too fast in transition is causing the club to go too much out. With the force that rotation puts on the hands are going to go too far out. So what we've got to do, ultimately, like I said, we're not going to try and get that lower body to go faster. Not going to happen. Everything's going to be moving too fast and too out of sequence. Like, again, if we're a long drive pro, we can do that. But if we haven't got that speed, that athleticism, not going to work. So we need to do the opposite a little bit. We need to let the upper body calm down. Now, this is very much a feel, again, out on the golf course, this will be brilliant. So I'm going to get up to the top of my backswing, and I'm going to be feeling like my zipper, so we could almost think of my microphone here, that it's pointing at you guys down there on the camera for as long as possible in the downswing. So I'm letting everything turn, but I'm making sure my upper body, my zipper, or my microphone is pointing at that camera for as long as I can coming down. That's going to keep my lower body, and that's going to get my lower body really making sure it's initiating the move, because I'm restricting starting this movement. Now, ultimately, I want you guys, if you really do this extreme, I want you to be thinking, even at impact, that your upper body is still pointing backwards, because we know if we're rotating our lower body, we're just going to let that happen. If we're rotating our lower body, even if we feel like this through the ball, we're actually going to be in a good spot. The rotation of your hips will pull the rotation of your upper body going through. So that's really what I would want you to think. You're keeping your zipper or your buttons on your shirt or your chest pointing behind you for as long as you possibly can through the golf ball. So I'm going to be thinking of it even into impact here. I'm going to want my zipper to be pointing at you down there. So let's hit a little one here, nice and soft again. And you can see it creates that little shot down there. So that will really help calming down this excessive upper body move. But this is one with a golf ball, and this is one that you can do going and playing. This is how you can take that into the golf course. But this next bit that I'm going to show you, and that is the one I've been putting on Instagram loads, and that's the wall drill. But this wall drill is really, if this is your problem, this is absolutely you have to do to really do this ultimate plan properly. This is a one where I've got on my page a good few weeks ago with one of the over-the-top fixes. We did this was part of the process, because these pits are part of the process for everything. So we know this is the one we can do with the ball. Let's have a little look at the wall drill and explain it in depth and what we're going to do with that. So guys, the second part to our fix here for the over-the-top bit, but this is actually the most important part here. Now this is with the drill. So this is really going to fix this root cause more than anything. This is what I give most of my online lessons here on Skillist, or my in-person lessons at the driving range, to really go and do if they're struggling with an outer sequence. This is like what I'd even do before that drill there, because I said with that feel with keeping the zipper back, that's a golf course feel. That's definitely what we're going to be doing when we're playing rounds of golf. This here is really that wall drill we see online where we're really dragging that club down. So let me run you through. Let's get up to the top of our backswing here. So I'm getting that club to touch the wall at the top of the backswing here. Now ultimately all I want to do, I want to be rotating my hips in the downswing and letting this club slide down that wall whilst I'm going down the downswing. The more exaggerated, the more extreme we make that slide, the more we're going to be keeping our upper body doing what we said over hitting golf balls there, staying back. So we can still think of that staying back here, having that zipper pointing back whilst we're turning everything else, sliding the club down the wall. So really extreme in that feel. You're going to get a very extreme feel doing this, but this is a absolutely brilliant drill. It's a dry drill, and dry drills are part of my unlimited plan or ultimate plan at the very end. So this is going to be the best one for you to practice very first. This is in that little routine there. So let's get up to the top again to be sliding it down, getting our lower body to be turning, upper body to still be with that zipper pointing back at you there. That club sliding down for as long as we can. Then we're going to get that lower body moving in better sequencing. So you can imagine if we're doing that a lot, we're really going to be making sure we're starting this root cause into a really good start, getting our sequence working better. So guys, that is the cause and the fix for the over the top outer sequence move. So we can see there that we've got to almost feel the opposite type of feel to be able to fix that outer sequence, upper body rotating too hard. Now, getting that where you're hitting balls to be feeling like your zipper on your jacket, or if you're somewhere warmer than I am, your buttons on your shirt or just on your t-shirt there, looking back at that camera, looking back behind you for as long as possible as we're turning through. That will get that lower body acting a little bit more, moving in a better sequence, and your upper body trailing and hanging along for the ride. The wall drill is the best one to do for this, to tackle this root cause specifically. I do this so much, this wall drill, with lessons, and it really pays off massively. It's one of the biggest ones. If you're an out of sequence guy, there's a 1000% guarantee that we can fix this in a very short space of time, because these two ones really get you feeling the absolute extreme of this. So that's your outer sequence, upper body rotating too fast one, done right there for you. So what we're going to do, like again, we're going to talk through all these other little bits right at the end again, so how we're going to do our proper practice kind of routine doing this, because there's an addition to all of these root causes that we're going to do afterwards that a lot of you will be very familiar with as well, but that's the brilliant part of this course. So let's get into the second one, and this second one is a very popular thing online. Again, this is like a very popular one on Instagram and on YouTube. Guys, it's like there must be a million videos about this thing on YouTube, but it does two things. It does make you swing over the top and it makes you steepen the shaft. So if we're doing both of them, we're going to be hitting the golf ball bad. So let's get into that, and that's all about your trail shoulder with its internal and external rotation. It's all about essentially elbow being behind you or elbow being in front of you. So let's have a little dive into that one. That's going to be our next video. So if you guys, if this was your problem, again, you can, if you want, skip to the end bit, but I would really recommend you to watch all of this so you've got the more knowledge in there. Like again with golf, if we've got more knowledge, we're going to be generally better at golf in general, especially if it applies to our problem in our golf swing. So I'd encourage you to watch through all of it, but if you want to skip to the end, you can do that if you want. So let's get into the last little bit, and that's all about your elbow movement.